Welcome to the CDG BizCast. I'm your host, Christian Gonzalez, owner of Creativity Design Group, a digital marketing firm in Houston, Texas. In this episode, we are going to continue discussing in greater detail the cyber attacks in the United Kingdom previously covered in episode 83 and focus on what corporations and businesses, large or small, can do to recover from cyber attacks after they have been affected. Additionally, we will discuss some do's and don'ts about handling cyber threats, taking note of where the affected chains in the UK made some mistakes. Joining me today, once again, is our CDG BizCast United Kingdom panelist, Sara Russell. Welcome back once again, Sara. It's great to have you.
Hello, Christian, and hello to your listeners. Yes, we're back again, and it's a pleasure.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you on the show to once again share some great insight covering the cyber attacks. Being that you are a resident of the United Kingdom and you are familiar with the chains that have been affected, you will be able to speak about this topic with better knowledge than I have. First, we have some more information related to Marks & Spencer, specifically where it was discovered that the hackers sent abuse and ransom demands directly to their CEO, as reported by BBC News. So now we will go over an article provided by BBC News that was dated on June 5th, just about a week from the time of us taping, and it's titled, M&S Hackers Sent Abuse and Ransom Demand Directly to CEO. So I'm going to cover some key points in this article, read some paragraphs from it, so that way all of our listeners will get a better understanding of what had happened. So this is breaking news. We just heard about this no more than about a week ago, and it has a lot of information that goes into more detail about what happened, about the message that was sent directly to Marks & Spencer's CEO, Stuart Machin. So he received an email written in broken English on the 23rd of April from the hacker group DragonForce. And not only was it sent from DragonForce, but it was using an employee email account. Now, as you could say, the plot starts to thicken more. So the email confirms for the first time that M&S has been hacked by the ransomware group, which is something that Marks & Spencer themselves has refused at this time to acknowledge. Quoted from the email, they wrote, "We have marched the ways from China all the way to the UK and have mercilessly raped your company and encrypted all the servers. The Dragon wants to speak to you, so please head over to," and then they provided a link to a dark web website. The cyber attack has been hugely damaging for M&S, costing an estimated 300 million Great Britain pounds. More than 6 weeks on, it is still unable to take online orders. The extortion email was shown to the BBC by a cyber security expert. The message, which includes a racist term, was sent to the M&S CEO and 7 other executives, as well as bragging about installing ransomware across the M&S IT system to render it useless. The hackers say they have stolen the private data of millions of customers. Nearly 3 weeks later, customers were informed by the company that their data may have been stolen. The email was sent apparently using the account of an employee from the Indian IT giant Tata Consultancy Services, or TCS, which has provided IT services to M&S for over a decade. The Indian IT worker based in London has an M&S email address but is a paid TCS employee. It appears as though he himself was hacked in the attack. TCS has previously said it is investigating whether it was the gateway for the cyber attack. The company has told the BBC that the email was not sent from its systems and that it has nothing to do with the breach at M&S. M&S has declined to comment entirely. A darknet link shared in the extortion email connects to a portal for DragonForce victims to begin negotiating the ransom fee. This is further indication that the email is authentic. Sharing the link, the hackers wrote, quote, "Let's get the party started. Message us. We will make this fast and easy for us," unquote. The criminals also appear to have details about the company's cyber insurance policy too, saying, quote, "We know we can both help each other out handsomely," unquote. The M&S CEO has refused to say if the company has paid a ransom to the hackers. DragonForce ended the email with an image of a dragon breathing fire. The email confirms for the first time the link between M&S's hack and the nearly simultaneous co-op cyber attack, which DragonForce have also claimed responsibility for. The two hacks, which began in late April, have wrought havoc on the two retailers. Some co-op shelves were left bare for weeks, while M&S expects its operations to be disrupted until July. Although we now know that DragonForce is behind both, it is still not clear who the actual hackers are. DragonForce offers a cyber criminal affiliates various services on their darknet site in exchange for a 20% cut of any ransoms collected. Anyone anyone can sign up and use their malicious software to scramble a victim's data or use their darknet website for their public extortion. Nothing has appeared on the criminals' darknet leak site about either Co-op or M&S, but the hackers told the BBC last week that they were having IT issues of their own and will be posting information, quote, very soon. Some researchers say DragonForce are based in Malaysia, while others say Russia. Their email to M&S implies that they are from China. Speculation has been mounting that a loose collective of young Western hackers known as Scattered Spider might be the affiliates behind the hacks, and also one on Harrods. Scattered Spider is not really a group in the normal sense of the word. It's more of a community which organizes across sites like Discord, Telegram, and forums, hence the description Scattered, which was given to them by cybersecurity researchers at CrowdStrike, which I should also mention CrowdStrike was also a hot topic back in July after their systems brought down several organizations worldwide due to an update. But back to the article. Some Scattered Spider hackers are known to be teenagers in the US and UK. The UK's National Crime Agency said in a BBC documentary about the retail hacks that they are focusing investigations on the group. The BBC spoke to the Co-op hackers who declined to answer whether or not they were Scattered Spider. Quote, we won't answer that question, is all they said. Two of them said they wanted to be known as Raymond Reddington and Demby Zumba, after characters from the US crime thriller The Blacklist, which involves a wanted criminal helping police take down other criminals on a blacklist. In the early stages of the M&S hack, unknown sources told cyber news site Bleeping Computer that evidence has pointed to Scattered Spider. The UK's National Cyber Crime Unit has confirmed to the BBC that the group is one of their key suspects. So those are some of the major key points of the article. It has been determined that yes, Scattered Spider is responsible, but their location seems to be up in the air. It's not clear where they're located at. And what makes this story even more crazy is the fact that the hacker emailed Stuart Machin, Marks & Spencer's CEO, with a company email, and he also has ties to the IT firm in India, Tata Consultancy Services, which has been providing Marks & Spencer's services for over a decade. So here's where things get a little bit strange. This person works for Tata Consultancy Services, not Marks & Spencer, but yet he had a Marks & Spencer's employee email. Now, doesn't there seem to be something extremely fishy going on there?
It certainly sounds extremely fishy to me, Christian. I can smell a scam going on.
If this person works for Tata Consultancy Services and not Marks & Spencer, why did he have a Marks & Spencer email address? That's where the plot starts to thicken.
Yeah, why would you have a Marks & Spencer's account if you're not a member of Marks & Spencer's? You work for another company. Unless you wanted to do bad things. That's the only reason you would create one, wouldn't it?
That's exactly what I was thinking. My theory is that being that this person worked for the IT firm that Marks & Spencer was contracted with, he had access to their entire system, their infrastructure, their email. So therefore, he was able to make an unauthorized email account for himself for nefarious purposes. That's my theory on this.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, but I just don't get why he wanted to create Marks & Spencer's account if he wasn't intent on taking it down anyway. Taking the whole system down because he's got that much technology in his hands. He thought he'd get away with it, I guess. I don't know.
It sounds like he was trying to blend in to the Marks & Spencer's team, so that way if he were to start sending out threatening emails to people, other employees would think it was legit simply because his email address was Marks & Spencer based. Employees are most likely trained, I'm assuming, to spot fakers by looking at the email addresses that suspicious looking emails come from. They're probably trained to only respond to Marks & Spencer's employees by looking at their email addresses. Just like you and me discussed, we don't work for any major corporations, but we know how to spot scams very easily. And this one particular employee probably wanted to blend in so we could attempt to steal extremely sensitive information. And maybe not even just that. Maybe he had much more sinister attempts. Maybe he had goals to steal money from the company. We don't know, but these are my theories.
Whatever his idea that he was going to do anyway was a bad idea and something that wasn't a legal idea. And I think he knew what he was doing. And he's just trying to say, oh, it wasn't me. Oh, it wasn't me. Because now the finger's pointing at him. So I don't know. I think this investigation is going to go on for a very long time yet.
I think Tata Consultancy Services needs to be investigated and their employees need to be thoroughly vetted because now one of their employees acting on their behalf just committed a major crime and TCS is currently currently investigating. However, I think they need to be investigated themselves. One of their employees did this on their watch, and then under the guise of being a Marks and Spencer's employee, which he was not, he was trying to commit some serious acts that would end up hurting the company and eventually their customers. Again, the company has taken some major losses due to this one person who has ties to this group. Now, the group in general, of course, they're responsible, DragonForce, but this one employee seems to have orchestrated the whole thing on their behalf. Marks and Spencer's has lost over 300 million pounds alone because of this act. They need to start finding out exactly what happened. They need to really investigate not just all their employees and all their internal operations, but they need to seriously consider looking for another IT consultancy service. And as you know, I've always been a big believer in supporting local businesses. Stop outsourcing overseas and use local companies. Whichever part of the UK that Marks and Spencer's is headquartered in, look at some local IT firms in your area, specifically where you're headquartered at. If not where you're headquartered at, look at some other firms that are based in the UK. Try to avoid outsourcing to other companies if you can, because this just makes things even more complicated when a firm that's in a completely different continent or overseas somewhere ends up disrupting your business operations. Try to stay local wherever you can, because also on top of that, if you need to start prosecuting, it's harder when you have to do it for an overseas firm versus when you do one that's locally.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I don't know why they don't use their own people. We've got a great cyber IT places all over here. I just don't know why they felt they need to go to India. Probably because it's cheaper. Would it be that? Possibly. I don't know. But whatever, let's hope they've learnt their lesson, but I doubt it very much.
Unfortunately, outsourcing overseas can be a bit more affordable. It is cheaper in some cases. However, it's not always the best option. Cheap is not always good. First, I need to state that we are not bashing the people of India. The people of India are wonderful people, very kind, very hospitable. It's just this one select small percentage of scammers that unfortunately happen to be based out of India that we're focusing on.
Oh, most definitely. No, we're just literally saying of where this particular group is from. No offense to anyone in India. I got a lot of Indian friends.
DragonForce is not based out of India. Where they're based out of appears to be ambiguous. No one's really quite sure. As the article said, it could be China, Malaysia, or Russia. But the one particular individual who orchestrated the cyber attack was from an Indian IT firm, and he acted on behalf of DragonForce. He was really trying to be a chameleon to try to blend in to the Marks and Spencer's team. So that is one area where I feel that Marks and Spencer messed up at. Even with their IT department, they shouldn't be so trusting of putting so much responsibility, so much access to their systems in their hands, especially when it comes to emails or anything financial related. If you're contracting out to an IT department, you should never give them full authority to create email addresses without permissions from the higher ups. And the same thing also goes for company bank accounts. You don't want to give them full access to their bank accounts regardless of who they're with. If they need access to that stuff, it's got to be run through to the higher ups. Don't just give them free access to touch whatever they want or to make accounts for whoever they want. This could also open doors for them to create fraudulent accounts to where they could commit internal theft where they steal from the company. You know what I mean? Like they could open themselves a customer account and commit some sort of fraud where they end up stealing money back from the company and they pocket for themselves. You've got to have stricter security measures on who has access to what within your company's systems.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, 100%.
So overall, what do you have to say about this piece of information that we've just learned about no more than about 5 days from the time of this taping? What's your overall opinion as a resident of the UK, as someone who shops at Marks and Spencer?
Well, I'm appalled they haven't really done anything in those 6 days. And there's more and more things coming out showing that there's more to it than they initially sort of said. They said initially that the system had crashed and then hackers got in, blah, blah, blah. Now it seems it's one individual who cloned an account, pretended to be an employee for Marks and Spencer's, got into their system and then just caused havoc. So I don't get what the issue is now with the other people they're saying, you know, from like Russia and China and all that. If it's that man, then the buck stops with him. really, and he needs to be accountable for, and so does the company. So I don't really get the issue why they're dragging this all out. And also, I don't know if you've heard at all, Christian, but the CEO of Marks and Spencer's, because of all this that's going on, the way he's handled everything, he's getting a massive bonus. He's getting, I think it was £1.5 million bonus. Great. He deserves that, not.
So that's new to me too. So he's getting this bonus that he doesn't deserve, and all this happened on his watch. I just don't understand. I don't understand it at all. That's the thing about these large corporations. When it comes to large corporations, these conglomerates, if you notice, it's always the top level executive that never get affected by anything. If a company's merging with another one, they all get to keep their jobs while the little guys end up getting sacked. Whenever they commit a corrupt act, they never find themselves getting fired. Whenever they do make their exit, they usually end up feeling disgraced and resign on their own. But we never see these top level executives get any true punishment when they deserve it.
No, and I really can't understand the board members letting this happen anyway. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you're not having a bonus because, you let the whole place go to rack and ruin. The buck stops at the chief exec. I'm sorry. But if you own a company, the buck stops with you. You have to take that responsibility for the fact that you've let that happen and you've allowed it to happen. You don't get thanks for it. You don't get a pat on the back. You don't get money in your account. You should get disciplined for that, whether you're a CEO or not.
Last month, we did a business sins episode talking about the importance of having accountability. And the sin we covered was having the lack of accountability, which we're seeing here. It's just very appalling that he's getting rewarded, not punished, for having the company's entire IT infrastructure go down, costing the company millions in pounds and losing a lot of customers. And to this very day, they're still recovering and they still cannot sell online. I mean, I'm speechless. I'm disgusted. There's just no excuse for any of this to happen. When you're doing the right thing, when you're actually putting measures in place to prevent stuff like this from happening, you don't see these problems. You don't see things like this go down. You actually see quite the opposite. And then to get rewarded for your negligence is just stomach turning. That just makes me want to barf right there.
I know, right? There's no rhyme or reason for the fact of them doing that. It's like me doing something wrong. I own a company. I do something wrong, really wrong, or I let something. I'm the CEO, so I have to take the buck stops with me. So something happens, and then someone says to me, "Oh, we are for causing absolute havoc, mayhem, and us losing customers, losing money. You can have £1.5 million." Oh, thank you very much. No, that's not right. That's coming out of customers' pockets. So that's why they're putting up all the prices in their Marks and Spencer supermarket. That's why the shelves are empty. What's happening? It's utter chaos. The whole thing's chaotic.
Yes, it's utter chaos. It all falls on his watch. He's responsible. Anybody can argue that, but in the end, Mr. Stuart Manchin is responsible for all this. And as for DragonForce, let's hope for the best that federal authorities nationwide are taking note of them. They're doing whatever they can to fight this type of cybercrime and bring them down. DragonForce needs to be brought down, and everybody involved needs to go to prison, regardless of where they're at. But yes, when it comes to cybersecurity in general, it is everyone's responsibility. Everyone involved. Yes, the CEO himself in the end is responsible for all this chaos, but everybody who works for an organization should always have some sense of degree of cybersecurity vigilance. Both small businesses and large corporations such as Marks and Spencer are not immune from cyber threat, as we discovered here. Regardless of how large or small your enterprise is, the same cybersecurity principles apply. So let's cover some cybersecurity tips that can protect your small business. So the Federal Communications Commission here in the United States has prepared 10 cybersecurity tips for small businesses, and I'm going to go ahead and cover some of those. The first one is train employees in security principles. So this goes back to what I just said. Everyone who works for an organization should have some sense of cybersecurity. They need to have a sense of vigilance, regardless of how high up in the organization you are or how low you are. So employees should first be trained in security principles. So that means establishing basic security practices and policies for employees, such as requiring strong passwords and establishing appropriate internet use guidelines that detail penalties for violating company cybersecurity policies, establish rules of behavior describing how to handle and protect customer information and other vital data. So again, make sure that whenever you are handling customer data, you are handling in the most secure of manners. And then always protect information, computers and networks from cyber attacks. So keep your computers clean. Make sure you have the latest software, the latest security software, keeping your web browser up to date, your operating systems, and other major pieces of software, as this is the best defense against viruses, malware, and other threats. Always make sure that your antivirus software runs a scan after each update, and always ensure that other pieces of software are kept up to date regularly. As soon as you see that there is a major update available, install it. Now, I've seen a lot of people in the past who still like to use operating systems as far back as Windows XP, believe it or not. And we've discussed this. You and me have both discussed this in other episodes before when it comes to cybersecurity. I cannot stress the importance enough of using a modern, up-to-date operating system. You've got to stop using Windows 7. You've got to stop using Windows XP. And in a few months from now, you're going to have to stop using Windows 10. I'm sorry, but Windows 10 is reaching its end of life in a few months from now. Microsoft will no longer be supporting it or offering security updates for it. I know a lot of people are going to want to cling to Windows 10 as long as they can, but the time to move on is now. If you don't like Windows 11, I'm sorry, but using Windows 11 is going to be the easiest way to stay secure. Not only with Windows, but other operating systems as well. As soon as the next major release of your operating system comes out, I wouldn't say update right away. If the developer of that operating system is still offering updates for the previous version, I know Mac OS is like this. Even after they release a new version, they still continue to update a few older releases, but there will come to a point to where you're going to have to move on and use the latest version. But again, when it comes to Windows, stop using Windows 7, Windows XP, all these other outdated operating systems. Windows 7 was retired back in 2017. There's no reason at all to still use it. Windows 10 is going to be retired very soon, so I highly recommend moving on from it and transitioning over to Windows 11. Now, moving on with our tips, make sure that you provide firewall security for your internet connection. This simply ensures that your system is blocked from hackers. Firewalls are a great way to block your system from hackers. If they try to come in, they're not going to be able to get in because the firewall offers like a force field or a shield over your machine. It prevents hackers or outsiders in general from accessing any data on a private network. Make sure it's enabled, and if you don't have one, download a free one somewhere. There are free choices out there. Now, if employees work from home, make sure that their home systems have that firewall set up. If your organization highly uses mobile devices, this can create some additional challenges for cybersecurity, and this is especially true if these devices hold confidential information or can access the corporate network. So require all of your users to password protect their devices and encrypt their data and install security apps to prevent criminals from stealing information while the phone is on public networks. And make sure you have a set of procedures for reporting lost or stolen equipment. Make sure you go all in when it comes to securing your mobile devices, because if you do not have VPNs or a mobile firewall, they can easily be compromised and data can be stolen off of them. So keep that in mind. I recommend limiting the use of mobile devices as much as possible when it comes to transmitting either personal customer information or anything that is confidential to the company. Make sure you have backups of important business data and information. Regularly back up the data. Now, this includes word processing documents, electronic spreadsheets, databases, financial files, human resource files, and accounts receivable or payable files. Back up this data regularly or at least weekly and store the copies either off-site or in the cloud. In fact, if you can utilize cloud-based data storage like OneDrive, for example, that will help you even more because storing on the cloud is often secure and a lot of them offer backups. So if you make a major modification on a file or a file goes corrupt, you can actually go back in and restore a previous version of it. Make sure that you can control physical access to your computers and create user accounts for each employee. Prevent the access or use of business computers by unauthorized individuals. Laptops can be particularly easy targets for theft or can be lost, so lock them up when unattended. Make sure a separate user account is created for each employee and require strong passwords. Administrative privileges should only be given to trusted IT staff and key personnel. And again, even when it comes to administrative privileges, make sure there is still a level of security involved when it comes to giving certain people access to certain areas. As we discussed, secure your Wi-Fi networks. If you have a Wi-Fi network for your workplace, make sure it is secure, encrypted, and hidden. Hide your Wi-Fi network. Set up your wireless access point or router so that it does not broadcast a network name known as a service set identifier or SSID. Password protect access to the router. Yes, make sure that this Wi-Fi network is hidden from outsiders. Now, as we discuss practices on payment cards, make sure you employ best practices on handling such cards. Work with banks or credit card processors to ensure the most trusted and validated tools and anti-fraud services are being used. You may also have additional security obligations pursuant to agreement with your bank or processor. Isolate payment systems from other, less secure programs and don't use the same computer to process payments and surf the internet. Yes, separate those two. Limit employee access to data information and limit authority to install software. Do not provide any one employee with access to all data systems. Again, can't stress that enough. Employees should only be given access to specific data systems that they need for their jobs and should not be able to install any software without permission. And when it comes to passwords and authentication, require employees to use unique passwords and change passwords every 3 months. Consider implementing multi-factor authentication that requires additional information beyond a password to gain entry. Check with your vendors that handle sensitive data, especially financial institutions, to see if they offer multi-factor authentication for your account. Those are just some tips recommended by the FCC to small businesses, but personally, I believe you can apply these to both small businesses and large corporations as well. The reason why I say that is because this is all common sense stuff. If you are not taking cybersecurity seriously, then it's just going to open a world of trouble for you later, and it could even bring down your entire organization to where you go out of business. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think there's great tips there, and also for the general public as well. It's not only for businesses. Those tips are really good for the general public. I always think of a firewall as Captain America's shield. It's keeping out all the villains and the baddies. That's what I like to think about, a firewall and an antivirus. Yeah, but definitely those tips are brilliant for small businesses, large businesses, and individuals, and the general public overall. So yeah, great tips.
And don't forget VPNs as well. You should also have a VPN on your system, especially if you are handling sensitive data. A VPN just redirects hackers away from your system with an additional method.
Oh yeah, definitely. You need one of those.
Now, lastly, we want everyone out there to be safe. Whether you own a small business, work for a large corporation handling IT matters, or just a consumer, we have some tips for you. So what should you do if you receive an email from a hacker similar to what the CEO of Marks & Spencer received? So first, remember, stay calm and don't engage. Don't respond to them. Avoid replying to the blackmailer, especially if they are making demands or threats. Engaging further can escalate the situation and empower the perpetrator. And don't pay anything. Never give in to demands or pay money to the blackmailer. This rarely resolves the situation and often leads to further harassment. And this might seem a little bit strange. Don't block them initially. While blocking might seem like a quick fix, don't do so immediately, as it might hinder investigation and could potentially provoke retaliation. So if you want to report this to law enforcement, make sure you don't block them right away. Don't respond to them, but don't block them immediately, because you might have some information that you can report to law enforcement should they decide to conduct an investigation. Secondly, in terms of investigations, collect evidence. Document everything. Save all messages, emails, screenshots, and social media posts related to the threats. Include relevant details. Make sure you capture dates, times, sender information such as emails or phone numbers, and any context that clarifies the nature of the threats. Preserve your evidence without altering. Don't delete or alter any evidence. This documentation will be crucial if you decide to report the incident to law enforcement or seek legal action. Report to the platform. So if the threats occurred on a specific online platform such as social media or messaging apps, report the perpetrator to the platform's administrator. So for example, if you get this message through Facebook, then you're going to want to report this to Facebook's cybersecurity division. And of course, report to law enforcement. You can file a report with the IC3, which is the Internet Crime Complaint Center. This is the FBI's central hub for reporting cyber-enabled crime. You can also report to your local FBI field office. So if you feel the need to report an ongoing crime, threat to your life, or national security threat, contact your local FBI field office. And of course, you can contact your local police as well. You can contact your local police department, especially if there is an immediate physical threat or if the perpetrator is known to you and is located locally. Consider specialized agencies as well, depending on the nature of the threat. And of course, don't forget to strengthen your security. And I'm just going to reiterate some tips we just discussed. Change passwords. If the threat suggests compromised accounts, change your passwords immediately using strong and unique ones for each account. Now, I've discussed this over and over again. Avoid using hard to remember plain English words in your passwords. Use hard to remember cryptic passwords. I know that this is not easy to remember, but this will save you in the long run. Use a password manager that will remember your password if you struggle to remember it yourself. Don't forget to enable multi-factor authentication. This will just add an extra layer of security, so if someone tries to hack your account or get into your account, should they obtain your password, they still won't get in because they will need your phone or possibly access to your email account for a verification link or verification code to get in. If they don't have access to that, then a hacker holding your password will be useless. Don't forget to review privacy settings. Adjust privacy settings on your online accounts to limit who can see your information and contact you. For me personally, I have my Facebook profile set to private so that only people on my friends list can see what I'm sharing. Be cautious about sharing personal information. Avoid sharing sensitive details online that could be used against you. So don't just start posting your email address or your home address anywhere. Make sure you know where you're sharing this stuff. And of course, seek support. Talk to someone you trust. Share what's happening with you with a trusted friend, family member, or advisor. Support can help you stay calm and think clearly. Don't forget to explore legal options. Consult with an attorney who specializes in online harassment or blackmail. They can advise you on your legal rights and options for taking actions against the perpetrator. And of course, as we mentioned, don't forget to report anything that sounds extremely life-threatening or dangerous to the FBI or your local police. Don't forget to consider the credibility of the threat. While many blackmailers don't follow through, take all threats seriously. Don't forget your jurisdiction. Online threats can be complex due to the global nature of the internet. Legal options and reporting procedures may vary depending on the location of both you and the perpetrator. And don't ignore the threat. It's important to address the situation proactively than simply hoping it will go away. You always take the threat seriously. Never just brush them off. You don't know what their intentions are. Always make sure that if you get any threats of this nature at any point in time, make sure you report them to the proper authorities. Never ignore them. Take all threats seriously. Report accordingly. Make sure your local police are involved and ensure that the FBI or whatever organizations in your country that are involved in taking on large-scale crime are notified.
That's great advice, Christian. Yeah, definitely great advice.
So, Sara, as we conclude this episode, I would like to ask you, what steps are you taking to adhere to general cybersecurity principles to keep your data safe?
Okay, well, what I'm currently doing and what I have been doing for a very long time is clearing my browser data. Clear your browser, and as soon as you finish what you're doing, just clear the browser, clear that all up. Make sure you've got a great antivirus system going all the time. I have Avast. I find it's quite good for me because I'm only a personal user anyway. I'm not a business or anything. And if I do put any personal details on there, like say I'm buying something online, using a credit card or something, the whole detail, as soon as I finish doing that, I go in and I just clear all the browsing data, everything from all time, because you can do it from all time. And then there's no copy of anything on there. You make sure, as you said, you've got your viruses, you've got your firewalls up and everything. And then just being vigilant, making sure that if you do go to a certain online place, make sure you've got your padlock at the top. Is it a safe site to be visiting? Is it one that everyone uses? It's not a fake one. These are the things you need to look for. I know it's getting difficult now, but you should be able to know if it's a fake site or not. Obviously, with most of these antiviruses and things you have, if you go onto a site, it'll immediately say, warning, this is malicious site or something like that. Then you know straight away. That's if you've got a really good antivirus-y thing on there. So, yeah. So just be vigilant. Make sure you've done all the tips and tricks that Christian's given you, and then just be safe. That's all you can do. Just do as much as you can and just be safe.
And for all my business owners out there who are listening, again, make sure your computers that handle payment processing are kept up to date. Keep them separate and don't use these computers to browse the internet. Make sure you have separate systems for internet browsing. Have a VPN installed, your firewall, your malware and virus scanners. And when you are taking payments, make sure that you are taking them in secure manners. Just like you said, Sara, look for the padlock. So make sure your websites, if you're processing payments through your website, again, have an SSL certificate on them. I cannot stress that enough. I've discussed it numerous times across numerous episodes. You have to have SSL. It's also a ranking factor for your website. If your website doesn't have SSL, Google actually blacklists and pushed it further down the list of results till it eventually just disappears. And when you are handling payment processing, make sure that, again, you are being secure when it comes to handling credit card information. Do not transmit credit card numbers through email or through text messages. Make sure you do not have them printed out on paper, stored in a filing cabinet where anybody can just open it and take them. Collect information securely where there is no way that people can obtain these credit card numbers easily. For example, if you transmit them through a text message or email, you're just opening doors for hackers to steal them easily. If a customer unannounced sends you their credit card information, delete the message immediately and take it over the phone instead, or have them come in and swipe their card. Don't have them transmitted under these manners where any hacker can just steal them. That actually goes against PCI standards. Again, you're employing general cybersecurity principles to your business, and if you need assistance with that, contact a cybersecurity firm and they'll be able to ensure that your company is following all the right guidelines to ensure that its infrastructure is safe, as well as its customers who patronize them are being safe. So that's my final word. Consult with a cybersecurity advisor or firm if you need assistance in making sure your enterprise is ready, that your enterprise is hacker proof. But again, thanks again, Sara, for joining me on BizCast. This was a great episode. Thank you once again for contributing some more information to follow up on our previous episode. I wish everybody out there the best. Make sure you are staying safe, staying vigilant, don't fall for any hackers or scams, and protect your data as if your life depends on it.
Thank you for having me on the show, Christian. Always a pleasure. And I hope the tips help your listeners.
And thank you once again, Sara. Thank you once again to all of my listeners for listening to the CDG BizCast. We hope you'll have a great day.